Well, hey there, how you doing? My name's Paul, this is Plan Z, and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about things relating to the Boss VE500. And what I've done, I'm going to separate this video into different chunks, so there'll be a bit of cutting about in terms of the video as I do different things. I figure this is going to be a different way of doing these videos. I can give you more information quicker. There's a little experiment I just want to get out of the way before I get on to the first subject. We're going to cover a couple of different subjects in this video. Is the difference between the SM58 and a Shure Deluxe 55 through the VE500, so you know what you're dealing with if you're doing my settings through this. There's another consideration for you. My vocal style is very much at this level. I tend to sing around here, and I'm there, and if I get higher, I'm only an inch away. But you might be different. You might have a different voice, delivery style. Men have different frequencies you're searching for. Now, what we're listening to at the moment is I've been giving this a tweak since the last video. I wanted to clean up my vocal a bit, and I've done that. And what I'm going to do is, as part of the routings video, what are all these bits of paper about, is I tend to write a lot of stuff down. I'm putting photographs of, so you can get screenshots of my settings. I'm writing all this stuff down so that, one, it helps us better understand how routing works, so you know how to affect things and you know what happens there. We're going to do a little chunk on that. We're also going to dive into a couple of other things, but one of them is the input-output. Now, what I've got here is, if you looked at the last video settings for the VE500 that will be in the VE500 folder, we were using, or I was using, EQ set on my input and output a set 4. And what I've done is I've set up a set 3 to clean up what I did there, and this is that set 3. And what I've done is using a shaker that's already recorded on the 505 here, and a bass line from another tune that was just already preloaded. I loaded in my EQ set 4 into the RC300, and then I did the same thing with my EQ set 3, which we're listening to at the moment. So in a minute I'm going to put that on, and then I did the SM58 through EQ set 3. So let's listen to what those differences are. This is the previous, so everything up until this video, all the previous videos have had this EQ set on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 4. 1, 2, 3, you can hear me 4, quite clearly. This is set 4. I'll crank the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 4. Now the current set. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. Much crisper, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, SM58. 1, 2, 3, 4, SM58. 1, 2, 3, 4, SM58. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is set 3. Okay, that's enough of that racket. So there, hopefully, we'll be able to clearly hear the difference. And all I did there is I went to EQ set 4, recorded the first one, went to EQ set 3, then recorded the second one, and then switched microphones through the unit, turned it all off, switched it, turned it back on, recorded the other line, saved it, started on the video, and that's what happened. So you and I are going to hear together what happened there, and this already, as I'm talking to you, feels so much more crisper. There is that room reverb that I spoke to you about in the previous video. I need to check my videos, actually see what I did as settings on, but we're going to go deep in this next group of videos that are going to come out. And we're going to, now that we've done that test with the SM58, we're going to crack into routing. So yeah, this is going to cut to another bit of video. Will be the same setup, but just different. We'll be like that throughout the video. Catch you in a bit. Okay, so now that we've got our EQ set and we understand the difference between the SM58 and the 55, we can crack on to routing before we get into our first effect. Now, routing is really important here. I don't know if you know, in the master block of each patch, you can select how things are routed. And what you have, if you go into the master block, I'm just going to check this now. So I'm going to go into an effect. I'm going to scroll along all the way to the master block. And the second page, you have series FX, okay? And on this patch, we're in series. Which is effect structure 1. Have this stuff written down, it helps you to understand. I'm going to put the photographs here because you'll be able to understand the flow of where the signal goes in just a second. Now if I scroll a page across, you'll see it has the same turn style with reverb next to it. And in that reverb, I've also got that on the first block. So this first vocal patch I set up, I have the effects on the routing for effects routing 1 and the reverb routing for 1. And what that means is on effects 1, the lead vocal, and if I add harmony or vocoder to it, all come out at the same point, hit all of the effects 1 to 3 in series there, and then they come out and hit the reverb. Okay. If I was to have gone FX1 RV2, all of the vocals will come out the same into the effects, and then you would run your reverbs parallel to each other. So you might have like a wet plate on one side, and you might have a room reverb on the other side, and the two of them together are running in parallel. Or you can have reverb 3. Now reverb 3, you can only select this in effect structure 3 and 4. So let's talk about effect structure for a second. Now, in the effect structure, in the first structure, everything comes out the same. When I say everything, you have basically 2 main blocks at the beginning of everything, and one is your lead vocal, so this, and the other is the harmony effects block. The harmony effects block has any harmonies we add. We're going to get into that in another video. But it also has, it also has your vocoders and things like that in there. So those that effects come out, and in effects 1 they hit effects 1, and then they hit effects 2. So whatever you've put in effects block 1, and you have 4 effects blocks you can use, will be affected by effects 2, and then the combination of 1 and 2 will be affected by effects 3 if you add a third effects block there, etc. So if you have a radio on 1, a phaser on 2, and then a delay on 3, and then a reverb, let's say on, well, I don't know, more delay, let's say, or a distortion or something. We'll get into layering effects. So that's effects 1, and then they come out into your reverbs, and then you've got reverb 1 and 2, so series or parallel. So effects 2 is the lead vocal comes out and hits effects 1, and the harmony effects or vocoders come out in a separate channel and hit effects 2, and then effects 1 and 2, those 2 channels, your lead and your harmony, are put together, and then they hit the reverbs either in reverb 1 or 2, so either series or parallel. Effects 3 which can be used with Reverb 3 now, has the lead vocal come out and hit effects 1 first and then effects 2 and then go out to hit a reverb 1. And the harmony effects, so your vocoder and harmonies, go out into effects 3 and effects 4 in their own channel and then go out and hit reverb 2. Okay, and then you've got parallel control over your mono and stereo signal. And then in effects 4, each of the blocks is considered as different. So you may or may not know that within the harmony effect, you've actually got 3 voices that you can add. So you've got your lead vocal as 1, and then 2, 3, and 4 are considered as their own vocal. Effects 1, 2, 3, and 4 can be applied to vocal 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this way, and then come out and hit the reverbs in either parallel or series, depending on which. So you could have your lead vocal coming through an effect, let's say a radio, and you add a short reverb to that, and then each of your harmonies could have a different effect on them if you want, and then you hit a separate reverb that maybe is a long plate or a long haul or something like that. Okay, so hopefully, and there'll be photos of this to accompany this in the video. I'll either put it between the different segments or I'll stick it at the end of the video, so keep an eye out for those. And the idea is you can just take a screenshot and then you've got it in your phone or on your tablet or whatever it is you're watching this on, and you can just you don't even have to scribble it down, it's all there for you. Okay, I'm going to get into the next bit of the video. See you in a second. Boom. Boom, what a knob. I am such a knob sometimes. Right, so now before we move into our effect, we have one other block to address, and that is the enhance block. So when you go in, you've got the enhance block. In there you've got compressors and another EQ. So what I've applied since the recording just now is we've got the compressor at 50. Now again, the photographs of my settings are on this page. I'm going to take a photograph of that, put it at the end of the video here, so you can tweak along yourself, remembering the difference between an SM58 and this. This is more boosted, it's got a wider frequency range, and it boosts the mids that are important to a singer, which is why I got this mic for my leads. Now in the enhance block, up until now I've been running everything flat with the compressor on 50. What I find is if I increase the 50 beyond 50 on the compressor, when I upload videos to YouTube and other forums, it like has a double compressing effect on it, and it gives this nasty happen around S's and things. So I'm conservative with that. In a live environment, you might, if you weren't posting to YouTube, if I turn up the compressor, I've just turned it right up there and I'm much crisper, and you can hear the compressor working. Wave K, wave. I'm going to turn it back down, because I know when I've got my full mix going on, it does that funny thing when it goes to YouTube. So I'm going to take that back down to 50. Okay, my de-esser is at 23. I don't have it too hot there. I've got none of the enhance effect on at the moment, but I do have a cut, if you scroll along the pages, to 6.30 Hertz on a Q of 18, a 16, I think it is, a tight Q, just pulling out some of those highs. There's a little bit of sibilance there that the de-esser would deal with, but you can just notch it if you want. And that was the frequency for me that I didn't like. Now the enhance block itself has an enhance knob, and that's in the first page. So what I'm going to do is, it's on 0 at the moment, and I'm going to start turning that up. I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it's maxed out. Wow, do you hear the difference there? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit start on the loopers there, and that is so crisp. Now if I come back and I'm going to pull that back down to 0, it's on 0 now, so that now feels a lot flatter but it's a more natural place. So if I just turn it up to about 25, something like that, I feel the effect is there. It's lightened the vocal. I'm cutting through still, but there's still, I can feel there's something else there. Let me just pull that back a bit. Got it on 21 now. That to me just feels better. Let me stop that. That feels to me to be a bit better. Okay, so again, the settings will be on the photograph at the end. So that's the enhance block dealt with. That's my vocal that I'm going to run with for the minute. I'm not sure about that enhance feature. I'm going to use it for the minute to help me cut across, because when I listen to my videos, I do hear the vocal quality is not quite there yet still. So let's see how we get on. So now I'm going to crack into our first effect. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm just going to cut. I'm going to do another cut. See you in a sec. What a donut. I'm going to a cut. I'm going to a cut. It's such a nonce. Right, anyway, so we're back in. We're going to dive into effects now. Now, if you've got the Boss VE500, you might have noticed when you were scrolling through interesting things to look at, there was an effect in there called Voice in a Cave. And what I've got here, I've got 4 different versions of that Voice in a Cave that all do quite different things. Obviously, it's more dynamic when you hear it in musical context, so maybe pick up a guitar in a minute. But I just want to show you loosely what they are. So at the moment, we're in bypass mode, so all the EQs and stuff we did earlier bypassed. I'm now going to engage it, and when I do, I'm going to engage what I think is what they had in there, but I've added a plate reverb to it. 1, 2, 3. And you can hear there's the extra tone in there. That reverb is a bit colder. I'm going to scroll to the next patch. 1, 2, 3. Now in this one, we've got similar effects going on, but we've added a delay and some phasing filters. I think there was originally a filter in the first one, but now we have a phaser. Now I hope this isn't jarring your head. If I talk slower, the delay interferes less. Moving on. 1. Panning. Delays. On the same effect. So now I'm going to go to 1, 2, and now I'm going to go to the one I use in the song Sunrise. The starting point was Voice in a Cave, but I've added panning to it. Loads of reverbs, you can hear it swimming. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the voice is moving from left to right. Let's get something. Try higher. Okay, I'm just heading back down to where my cleans are. here's my clean that we built in the first part of this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the photographs in for the settings of those 4 different, but the important thing I wanted to talk to you about is routing. One of the things that really affected how things were heard there was 2 of the effects blocks that I added in, but also running things using effects 1 or effects 2, 3, or reverb 1, 2, 3, and placing them in different places will help the effects in your chain breathe when you want them to breathe. And hopefully we'll hear back in that audio there's quite a difference between those 4. And yeah, as I say, I'll put the settings in just now. Hope you're well. Take care. Bye.